Guys, SpaceX is making millionaires. This is absolutely crazy. It pushed up to $220 in the pre-market last night, this morning. And yeah, absolutely insane scenes. We're going to talk about it, what I'm doing, my strategy. I've built a deck to explain exactly why SpaceX is pumping like crazy. I'm sure everyone's wondering because they actually made a loss last year, and everyone's asking how are they overtaking Amazon. So yeah, we need to get into it. We're going to talk about all of the stuff that's happening. We've got some latest news. SpaceX have just acquired Cursor for 60 billion. And yeah, let's get into it. So first of all, I started day trading SpaceX when it launched. I was kind of worried about a short squeeze. So I did post in my Discord back on the 5th of June saying, because someone talked to me about they were creating opportunities for retail to get in. They lowered the price to buy the IPO from 200K to 2K, so institutional investors to retail. And I said here, looking for retail exit liquidity. Only thing that worries me is everyone and their dog is also expecting a crash on IPO, which might make it the largest short squeeze we have ever seen. Nearly all IPOs crash 30 to 90% over time, right? Not immediately, but over time. They'll have to market it hard, which we have seen, right? We have seen Elon coming out talking about he predicts that SpaceX will reach $1 trillion in revenue by 2030. He doesn't normally talk so much about price. In fact, it's quite the opposite. With Tesla, for example, he often said it's overpriced, and we're focusing on building good products. We're not focusing on price or what the stock price is. Trying to play it cool as if to say we don't even care what the stock price is. And we're seeing a different Elon with this movement, and we're seeing him actually share people who are talking about price and how much it could increase over time, and the revenues that it could create. We're seeing Elon very, very much talking about price, and what are retail mainly interested in? They're interested in making money, right? They want to make short-term gains. They want to make profits, but the company lost $5 billion last year, and it was 2.5 trillion earlier. I think it pushed up to 2.7 trillion, which is absolutely insane. And until we see those earnings reports in August, it is literally froth and speculation right now. SpaceX valuation 2.5 trillion, Amazon 2.56 trillion, so it actually overtook Amazon, which we're going to talk about. SpaceX revenue 18 billion, Amazon revenue 742 billion. So I don't think anyone can argue that this is a FOMO froth frenzy, but there's more to the reason why SpaceX is just pumping to the upside. There's more to it, and if you're a crypto native, you've probably seen this before. And basically no supply, create max demand, and that's why you get these massive pumps to the upside. So what did I do? So I didn't want to short the initial IPO because I thought we would have a rally to the upside. I was waiting for the first yellow candle on the SMC bot, and we did have a yellow candle here. You see over here on the legend, green is the bottom, and then yellow is a topping signal. So I was waiting for the first yellow. We had a yellow here, and I did take a short position on this, thinking that maybe the IPO would run a little bit and it's going to have a cool down, and I got in around 174. I did make some nice profits because it did come down to 157. I did make nice profits on that, but I took some profits off the table, but then I added to my position when it came back up. I was looking for a double top here. One thing I probably should have done is we had a green candle down here flash for the first time. Just day trading, by the way, guys. This is just a 5-minute chart. And we had a green flash up down here around 158. And what I could have done is taken profits from my trade and flipped into a long position here. We'd had a pullback, we'd had a downtrend, came back to some kind of short-term support levels here around 157. And the rest is history. It just completely rallied. We did have a strong buy signal as well. And I didn't take the long position, and I ended up hitting my stop on my short trade around $200. And I'm not going to continue chasing. It's a good job I didn't, because it pushed up to 220. But yeah, I hit my stop. I'm not going to chase. It is what it is. Look, am I upset? Sure. Nobody wants to lose money, right? I don't want to lose any trades. You can't win all the trades, and I made a colossal amount of money short in the market recently, You can see some of my trades. I think I did post my SpaceX trade in here. Yeah, here's my SpaceX trade that I took on the short. And yeah, we made a lot of money short in the market in crypto when it came down, right? I made 618% on ETH, 983%, 632%. So the money I lost on the SpaceX trade was a fraction compared to the amounts I made short in the market, right? Solana went from 90 to 60, BTC 73 to 59. But yeah, I'm not going to chase, I knew the risks. I took a risk. I knew it was going to be very volatile. I knew there was a chance that we could see a massive short squeeze. And I took the risk, and I should have flipped positions, but hindsight is everything, right? The SMC bot ruled again. With regards to buy and sell signals, because it's so new, the SMC bot doesn't have enough data to provide super accurate signals. I mean, technically this green line is support here. So what I also could have done, I could have taken the long here, and I didn't. I got stuck in my position and I thought we might look for a double top here. And then it came down to support here. So I could have taken another long position. I had a buy signal. We came back to support. I didn't take it. And we moved to the upside. We then came back to the SMC moving average, which again, I could have taken another long position here around 182. I didn't, and it bounced exactly off of that 5-minute time frame. And the rest is history, right? It's skied to the upside. But look, I like to look back on these and look at what I should have done, because on the next IPO, I can say, maybe if we get a yellow into a green, maybe I'll take the long position. Maybe if we look like we're bouncing off support, maybe I'll take the long position, right? And yeah, it's all a learning experience, and all we can do is try and be better on our next trades, right? So let's get into it. I've built this pitch deck. It's just short, guys. I'll try and make it as fast as possible, but I think it's good to understand. In this deck, I'm going to explain why SpaceX is rocketing to the moon, and why it potentially could go higher, and the circumstances that are required for it to continue to go higher. So first of all, we know the market caps are absolutely ridiculous. SpaceX 2.7 trillion, and getting very close to Apple. Already taken over Amazon, which is insane if you think about the revenues. SpaceX pretty much no revenue compared to Amazon and Apple. Completely off the charts, and I think these are conservative. I think these are actually generating much more than this. And SpaceX actually ended up making a loss last year. So pay very attention to the first public revenue report, the first public review. Pay very close attention to that. And that's going to be a big day. That's going to be a very, very big day. And I think a lot of people are going to be surprised by what they see there. In the earnings report, sorry, I was looking for the word, the earnings report. So first of all, let's look at Apple. 2.2 billion active devices worldwide, 1.5 billion iPhone users globally, 900 million App Store customers, 1 billion paid subscriptions. This is the key to any business. Paid subscriptions is such a great business model, and it also helps a business understand how much capital they've got in. It helps them understand cash flow, right? We have X amount of subscribers, so we know that when payments are due to be pulled, they're going to be pulled on this date, this date, this date. By next month, we're going to have this. Best business model, and that's why I love Starlink. Starlink is phenomenal. Now, I don't like some of the other businesses under SpaceX, but Starlink is phenomenal. And that is one of the best things they could focus on paid subscriptions. And Apple, 1 billion plus paid subscriptions is absolutely insane. And that is an absolute beast. And to even think that SpaceX is close to that right now is wild. People have even been fudding Apple and fudding Amazon, saying SpaceX is much bigger. I think that's insane, considering what they've achieved, and how many loyal, consistent customers they have is phenomenal. And that's something you can't really mess around with. Then we've got Amazon, 310 million plus active buyer accounts, 200 million Prime members. Okay, so we're talking about subscriptions again, very important to any business. 500 billion plus in annual marketplace transactions. AWS as well is also serving millions of enterprises. I use AWS. A lot of people use AWS, and I think people forget that about Amazon. They do have different niches in their business that generates a lot of revenue. SpaceX, 3.7 million plus Starlink subscribers. That is amazing for how new Starlink is and how long it's been around, and it is growing exponentially, and word of mouth is starting to go around, and more people are using it. I think Starlink is a phenomenal business. So I don't want to put any FUD on Starlink. I think it's great. If it was its own entity, I would probably buy it. You know, the market cap for it would be a lot smaller than this froth and FOMO and speculation that we have around SpaceX right now. But I would have loved to invest in something like that. And I might even invest in a competitor to Starlink, which we're going to talk about in the video. There's a few other companies that are coming out trying to take on Starlink. So yeah, I think it's phenomenal. I think it's going to grow exponentially, and we'll talk more about what Starlink later in the video. Present in 100 plus countries, amazing. 100 plus launch customers, NASA, DoD, commercial. I'm going to talk about this, but I don't think that's not something I'm super interested in. It's not like a subscription model. You're going to get little jobs here and there from NASA. NASA's funding is already super small. Projected 100 million plus Starlink users by 2030. I think that's definitely possible. I think that is definitely achievable if they continue to scale and grow and market. I think word of mouth of Starlink is going to carry itself, especially as they start to integrate with airlines and, you know, companies that people have to use start to offer Starlink. So let's talk about Starlink. Okay, so global broadband disrupted, huge industry. Global broadband service disrupting internet access. Now, think about broadband in some rural places. If you're in a village and you have a small population, there's no real incentive for a broadband company to travel all the way over to your village. You've got logistics, transportation costs, and then to install broadband for this small amount of people that are probably going to be paying, only a small amount every year, and it's just not worth the money. So there's going to be lots of areas around the world that are actually left without internet. Small villages, maybe in the desert, third world countries where they just don't have the infrastructure or the investment interest to build those kind of connections. And having the internet is very important, right? This is one thing I love about Starlink. It's not just making money, it's giving access to the internet to third world countries, people that haven't previously had access. And it's a free university, right? It's not just the internet. You can become anything. You can become a plumber. You can become a lawyer. You can become a doctor from some of the best courses and free education ever on YouTube. That's where I learned a lot of my skills and about investing and markets and inflation. Mostly from, I read a lot of books as well, but mostly from YouTube. And I think that's a beautiful thing, right? Giving people the opportunity to create their shop online, to research, study, learn how to do something that maybe can change their own community. And I think we'll see an exponential growth in productivity if you deliver those services to people. So I don't just love it because it makes money. I love it because it's really helping people, and I think that's a beautiful thing. Any business that helps people and makes money is a win-win, and I think it's going to get global adoption. I think it's going to grow exponentially. I think users and revenue is going to massively increase. One thing they are doing is bringing internet to third world countries and smaller rural areas. Might not be a lot of money there that the West has, right? So if you're selling to airliners, of course, you're going to make millions and millions of dollars. Airlines are going to pay stupid money. I've already heard large KOLs, DYOR, the CEO, for example, said he's only going to fly on airliners that have Starlink. I think that's gonna really help the marketing grow. I think you're going to see huge money coming in from those kind of contracts. But there's only so many airlines you can sell to, right? It's not an infinite amount of airlines that you can sell to. So airlines is an obvious market. I just think they're not going to get so much money from some of these third world countries because who has the money to pay, 30, 40 pounds or dollars a month subscription fee in Africa, right? Or in some of these third world countries. For example, in Indonesia, some of the people work for, a few dollars a day, and paying $30, $40 is not going to be feasible for them. So they're going to have to reduce their prices in some of those areas. And I guess the costs must be pretty low. Once the satellite is in orbit, it's probably running on solar. the costs are probably very, very low. So I'm sure they'll be able to bring those customers on board. What they could do is bring those customers on board, show them the power of Starlink, show them the power of the internet, make them reliant on it, and then try and work on maybe getting those margins up. Once you've got those users on board for a low cost, then work on margins. And if you see users drop off when you increase your margin, then drop the price down, etc. They'll probably test the waters and figure out a way to make that as profitable as possible. So I love it. I really, really love Starlink for what it's doing. 6 million plus active subscribers worldwide. Again, great business model to have subscribers, consistent money coming in. You can accurately spend money. How much are we getting? How much can we invest? How much can we spend and grow the business, etc. We've already talked about this. 100 countries, 6.6 billion projected annual revenue. So way off. Elon was talking about trillions of dollars in revenue by, I think it was for SpaceX as a whole, but by 2030. So, if this is projected, it's still quite low. 60% year-over-year subscriber growth, probably going to hit that target. 7,000 plus satellites in low Earth orbit. The latency is amazing, 25 to 60 ms. Now they're comparing to the traditional satellites of 600 ms, but 25 to 60 ms is really good. And I've actually had less ms than that on 4G and 5G, and that's very, very good. And that's one of the main things that people are looking for when they're looking for fast or fast broadband or fast internet. I actually saw some people say that their connection in the plane when using Starlink was better than their own broadband, which is a very powerful thing. So I love it. It's amazing. Targeting 30 plus billion revenue by 2030. So if they're targeting 30 billion revenue by 2030, where is the trillion dollars coming from that Elon mentioned? Because I think Starlink is their best business, and if they're talking about 30 billion revenue by 2030, that leaves a massive gap for $1 trillion in value by 2030, which is not that far away really. Key driver of SpaceX's IPO valuation, absolutely right. It's this business that people are most excited about. Falcon 9. Now, here we get into stuff I'm really not interested in, and I'm going to talk about why I think these can cause problems. And don't worry, I'm going to tell you about why I think SpaceX is pumping and might continue to pump. We're going to get into that. So, Falcon 9, high launch cadence, over 200 successful launches, the most frequently flown orbital rocket in history. I don't care, right? I don't care if you've had 200 successful launches. 90. What is there? I think it's 99%. Or something over 90% success rate. It really doesn't interest me. Why? I mean, how many customers are you going to get for this Falcon 9 rocket? It doesn't, yes, it's got a low cost for per kg to orbit. Who is flying stuff into orbit? Is your average person going to be flying stuff into orbit? Is this a subscription-based model where you have subscribers that are going to pay monthly and subscribe to this? It really doesn't interest me, and I really think the revenue here is going to be very low. So I can't see how they're going to get to $1 trillion in revenue under these circumstances. Also, let's talk about this because this is huge to me. Rockets come with one big problem, okay? And I think we can all agree that this is inevitable. This isn't a maybe. This is an absolute inevitable. At some point or another, there is going to be a big launch. There's going to be a lot of focus. Everyone's going to be watching it on the TV. It's going to be a big media frenzy. Falcon 9, this, that's taking off. It's going to the moon. It's going to Mars, whatever. At some point or another. Now, I don't want this to happen. At some point or another, one of these rockets is going to explode, and it's going to be all over the news and the media. And we know that retail are extremely emotional. Right, they're buying SpaceX because they want to buy a house, they want to retire early. They maybe don't understand the size of the market cap. Some retail, believe it or not, don't even understand market caps. They see the chart go up and they buy. They think they're buying, they think they're getting the next Tesla because Tesla started off down here and went and done hundreds of X, thousands of X's, right? And, if you miss Tesla, don't miss SpaceX. Some of them genuinely don't realize that the market cap of Tesla was down here and the market cap of SpaceX is actually basically record highs, right? So yeah, they see the price go up. And then what happens if a rocket explodes? They panic and they dump and they get out, right? So it's going to be extremely volatile. Smart money will come in and buy the dip, and then it goes up, and things are going to go wrong. I think we can all agree at some point there is something going to go wrong. You're playing with rockets. We're going to Mars for the first time. We're putting people on the moon. And anything could go wrong, right? Anything could go wrong. At some point, there's going to be a manned mission with many people on the rocket, and they are going to be flying to Mars or whatever. Again, anything could go wrong. Now, I don't want anything to happen, God forbid, but something is likely eventually going to go wrong. And when there's deaths involved and stuff like that, it's going to get nasty. And I don't really like that about the rocket side of the business. And I wouldn't invest in the rocket side of the business if these were separate entities. I wouldn't really be interested in anything to do with rockets and putting bases on the moon. I just don't see much revenue there, which we're going to talk about. It doesn't interest me, and just trying to say to you guys, it comes with huge risks. It might be all sunshine and rainbows when everyone is shilling it across socials, but from a risk management standpoint, and also trying to make money, right? I'm trying to make money long term. I don't want to. Not only do I not want to make a loss, I don't want to sit in an asset that's going sideways for 5 years. Like Tesla is the same price it was 5 years ago. I don't really want to sit in an asset for 5 years, losing to inflation as they run the money printer, right? So that's where I stand on it. I'm not really interested in this. I'm not really excited by it. Yes, I'll look at the revenue reports, but doesn't really excite me. Starship, again, another thing, doesn't really excite me. High altitude flight test, Starship Mark 1 prototype unveiled. I mean, these things are so expensive to build. There's so many people working on these, testing them, running them. And then if they have a mistake, it sends them back to the drawing board, back to building, working out where they went wrong. Lots of costs, sentiment. You could say aura could be lost once one of these things goes wrong. It's not my cup of tea at all. And if it's someone's interested in this, look, I hope it pumps for you. I'm just I personally try and get into businesses that I really like the subscription models, again, which I talked about earlier. I like to get into businesses that are disruptive, right? For example, AI, very disruptive. The next industry I'm putting a lot of money into is humanoid robots, and I know not everyone is bullish on them. We've been talking about humanoid robots for many months. I think even last year we were talking about it. And that is a sector where I see humanoid robots in every home, okay? In the next few years, might even be 3, 4, 5, 6 years, I see robots nearly in every home, doing the washing, doing the cleaning, doing the gardening, watering the plants, doing all the household chores. I mean, how much is coming home from work and everything is done and perfect and squeaky clean, and even the dog's been fed and the clothes have been washed and hung up back in the wardrobe. Priceless, absolutely priceless. Then people are going to look over in their garden. They're going to see someone's got a Tesla robot. Someone's got this robot. They're going to want one. They're going to talk to them. How much did it cost? Oh, we pay a monthly subscription. Again, another, because people aren't going to be able to afford these robots. So what they'll do is monthly subscriptions, and people will just pay a monthly fee for the robot. I don't know, over 5 years, 10 years, whatever. But then the robot is working every day and they'll see the value. Not only that, they're going to be fit with AI. You're going to be able to ask them questions. They'll be able to play music. They'll be able to play badminton with people. They'll be able to play table tennis. It's going to get absolutely wild to the point where every single person is going to want one. And then you have businesses as well, right? You have businesses like Amazon have already said that they want to go to robotics and have 70% of their company running on machines and robotics. They're doing they're working on construction sites now. They're really training these things up to be beasts, and it's early, very, very early. We're in like the first year of this. Production is just starting to scale up now. I love those businesses and the revenue that is potentially there, not only from B2C, but B2B as well. You've got both markets with potential huge demand. Now we're talking about trillions and trillions of dollars of revenue. And those businesses are kind of like Amazon. And I would even argue it could be bigger than Amazon and bigger than Apple. Apple's a hard one because everyone needs a phone. Everyone wants a phone. And iPhone has really built that that from the ground up. But the robots could be big because not every business needs an iPhone, and you could argue most businesses might need a humanoid robot. So I love disruptive businesses like that. Rockets, it's not really interesting me. It's not really that disruptive. It's more of an exciting business. We're going to land on the moon. We're going to go to Mars. Yeah, not what they're not telling us is it's going to cost this, and we're struggling. We're going to struggle to get funding for this, right? Doesn't bother me, doesn't interest me. Defense contracts, look, there is a little bit of money coming in from NASA, 2.9 billion human landing system contract to land astronauts on the moon. I mean, are they going to need to do that every single month? Are they going to want to do that every single month? Is this going to be consistent income? Is it going to be a one-off? Very, very difficult. Very, very difficult. NASA already have strict funding, right? NASA get very, very little funding. And it's probably going to get tighter, right? It's probably going to get tighter. I think it's ridiculous. I think it's crazy that we spend so much on defense. We're literally blowing each other up whilst an asteroid could take us out. And that's not an if. Just look at the craters on the moon, look at the craters on Mars. An asteroid could eventually wipe us all out, but we still spend very little money on trying to defend from those asteroids that could wipe out the entire Earth. It's absolutely ridiculous, but that's what it is. Space Force, I mean, how much money are you going to get from Space Force? Also, Space Force was a Trump thing, and we know Elon has been getting on well. It wasn't, but he is now getting on well with the Trumps. And what's going to happen to that once the Democrats come in, right? If we see a shift into the Democrats, which a lot of people will argue, it seems very likely given how Trump has been going on over the last 6 months or so. The Democrats come in. Elon has been saying all sorts of kind of things about the Democrats. It's another thing why I don't like investing in Elon's businesses. He's very unpredictable. He says crazy things. He literally called the president a pedophile. And, he said some absolutely wild things. And he's very unpredictable. And again, unpredictable business with an unpredictable person. I don't like it. I really don't like it. You might get bits and bobs here from Space Force. How long for? How often is it going to be? I don't know. DOD, Starlink. Okay, you might get some DOD from Starlink. Absolutely. I think Starlink's gonna get some work here again. Once those DOD satellites are up, how much work is there going to be, right? I don't know. Contract value, total government contract, backlog estimated at 5 billion. Again, we're talking about numbers here. Elon has projected $1 trillion in revenue, and still some of these numbers are so small, and they're not subscription based. They're kind of one-off things. How many times I think once NASA put people on the moon, they're probably going to chill and just do some studies and send back rocks and analyze the rocks. I can't see them being in a rush to put 1,000 people on the moon all of a sudden. Just my speculation, guys. All of this is just my speculation, right? I could be absolutely wrong about this. AI infrastructure, data centers, an interesting one. There is so much hype and FOMO around data centers. There is a rush to build data centers. The spend for data centers is absolutely insane. Some of these data centers are using more energy than NYC, New York City. And some of these data centers are actually going to take 8 to 9 years to complete. That's how complicated and such a large scale they are. Obviously, some are going to be completed sooner, 2 years, 3 years, etc. But everyone was in a race to build data centers. The cost of energy is increasing, and people speculate that these data centers are going to put a stress and demand on the energy system, which is going to push energy prices up, which is very true. And the issue I don't see a lot of people talking about is the token costs. Now, I use tokens. I'm building an AI website at the moment. It's going to be a website that analyzes financial markets and analyzes the SMC bot, TradingView, does so many cool things. Hopefully, by the way, we're going to launch that this summer. And tokens are getting cheaper. So the price of tokens are actually coming down, and the cost of energy potentially could keep going up. So these data centers are going to cost a lot of money. And the issue we might have is, I don't know if you've seen some of these business people have been coming out in the media saying that they're spending too much on tokens and they're not seeing the return for their spend. Okay, so they were spending more money on tokens. It was quite popular, right? Oh, we spent this on tokens, we spent that on tokens. But we're now seeing some companies actually say, right, we've explored what we can do with our business with AI. We were using this many tokens, and now we've realized we don't actually need this many tokens, and this is how many tokens we're using. Also, the efficiency of the whole system, the requirement for compute power has got better. So the token price has become cheaper. So the token price was up here when a lot of people were investing into these data centers, and now the token prices are actually coming down. What happens if we get to a situation where we have too many data centers, all with huge costs, huge energy costs, huge maintenance costs? Obviously, these are costing billions and billions of dollars because they're the GPUs and the systems they're using. What happens when we get too many data centers? Because don't forget, they're completed in many years, sometimes 5, 6, 7 years. Too many data centers, tokens come down. Maybe the processing power required gets better as well. So the whole efficiency gets better. And the revenue that these data centers are going to generate is not what we initially expected, because we bought into the FOMO. They created data centers because of the FOMO. We've been talking about putting data centers in space, and we're going to need this. And also AI has only just boomed as well. So the hype of AI is booming right now. I still think only 20% of companies are using AI, which is insane. It should be way higher than that. You could argue nearly every company should be using AI in some form or another. So yeah, I don't know if we're quite at the top of the AI boom, but it's definitely frothy, and we do have to. I'm always trying to think about the risks, right? I don't want to buy in here and then see all the signs later and tokens are cheap, data centers are too expensive, people are selling their data centers, investors are making losses on these data centers. I don't want to sit here in 4 or 5 years time saying, why didn't I see the signs? I'm trying to work it out now, right? Making money is about seeing where the market's going to be in 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, not now. And that's why I love the humanoid thing, because I can kind of see it. I can really see it in 5, 6 years, along with some other industries, which I've talked about in my Discord, right? I'm always talking about where I'm going to put my capital. And that's always in industries that I think are going to explode in 3 or 4, 5 years. Not what we see now, right? I don't put my money in data centers and this and that and what's popular now. I'm trying to figure out where the market's going to be in a few years, and I stand by that. So yeah, growth potential. Look, we've already seen Elon say he's going to make $1 trillion. I very much doubt that. Here's the reason SpaceX was pumping. Okay, so this is the reason SpaceX is pumping. The stake ownership. So Elon has 44%. You've probably seen he became the world's first trillionaire. Obviously, it's on paper. He doesn't have access to those tokens just yet. 40% inside his employees, very important, which we are going to talk about. That's a large amount to insiders and employees. Let's talk about it now, actually. So some of the insiders and employees actually got SpaceX at $1 or below, okay? Some actually got it much cheaper than $1. So SpaceX went up to $220, okay? $220. That's the worst pound sign I've ever drawn, but or it should be a dollar sign, 220. So that's a 220x. So that means if they put 1K in, because they got the email, invest in SpaceX, we're going to do an IPO, whatever. They put 1K in, they now have 220K, okay, almost $250,000 from that investment. If they put 10K in that, they have $2.2 million just from that investment, okay? So huge profits. I don't know about you. If it was me, I would start to sell as soon as I got those tokens, right? I'd start to take money off the table. Why? Because I know nearly every IPO has gone down 30, 60, 70%. After the hype has worn off, right? After the hype's worn off, I know there's going to be a rush to sell, and I've made life-changing money, right? So if I was an insider or an employee and I got in at $1 or lower, and don't forget, that's at $1, right? What about the people who got in at 50 cents? They're talking about double this, 440K here. 4.4 million 4.4 million here from a 10K investment. Absolutely ridiculous. And this is just the employee money, right? This is small money. Think about the whales who put in $1 million and 10 million. I think I saw someone say they're up 40 billion or something in profits. It's absolutely insane. So yeah, insiders and employees got in very, very low. So why isn't the price dumping? And then we got 12% institutional and public float. We know how institutions work, right? Buy early, dump it on retail, let them panic sell, then buy the dip. So here's the most important part to why it's pumping and why it could potentially pump even higher. The IPO is around 4 to 5% float. Okay, so there's no liquidity. Now, if you're in crypto, you've probably seen this quite a lot. A lot of projects, what they do is launch a project, no liquidity on the market, and it pumps and pumps and pumps because no one can sell, right? And everyone's supply is locked up. And then when it's unlocked, it starts to dump, but usually the team and insiders will sell first. And I've seen it happen time and time again, and they'll say their tokens are locked, but they'll actually start selling the liquidity allocation. They'll send it to a market maker, the market maker will sell it, and then they'll send them the money back, and they'll start to sell from the liquidity, and then they unlock people's tokens. In crypto, it happens a lot faster, but in this world, it's very regulated, and they have to do reports and earnings reports which details exactly what they did. So they can't mess around here. So these tokens are probably fully locked. Probably no liquidity on the side. Not like cryptos, right? It's not an absolute everyone's trying to scam each other over, and even devs are saying this and that and actually selling the liquidity, right? It's not the Wild West. We can assume that the supply is locked up and there's not someone on the side dumping. August the 11th is where 20% is going to get unlocked. Now, this has changed now because there was a clause in the release schedule where it said if the IPO performs, not everyone knows this, but it says if the IPO performs over 30%, so it increases by over 30%. Is it 222 now? Oh my God, look at this, 222. If the IPO performs, this is insane. I'm almost tempted to long any pullback on this, to be fair. If the IPO performs, it does over 30%, which is already achieved, there'll be an additional 10% unlocked for investors. So there's going to be an additional 10%. So there's actually going to be 30% released on the 11th of August. Okay, so many different things you could do here. Let's talk about it. So let's say the price is doing this right now, right? And we're heading towards the 11th of August. Now, immediate thought for some people is well, I'll just buy and then I'll sell on the 11th of August when the tokens get unlocked, and then I'll short on the 11th of August and everyone wins. Doesn't always work like this. The problem is everybody knows that the tokens are unlocked on the 11th of August. So what the smart money and insiders will do is they'll start to sell. They won't sell all at once. They'll start to dollar cost average out. They'll sell a little bit. They'll sell a little bit. They'll sell a little bit, because the insiders are just going to be in absolutely insane profits, especially if it pushes up to 5-6 trillion in market cap. So what they'll normally do is start to sell. And what you might see at some point is a trend break, which can be the sign that the insiders selling, sorry, not the insiders, you could say the insiders from the IPO, the insiders selling outweighs the FOMO and momentum. And this is where I'm interested in taking the big short, right? Okay. So I'll post in my Discord when I'm taking that. I'm not going to chase this at the moment, but when we get that eventual trend break, and it could be in July, it could go into July because, we're still in June and the first unlock's not till the 11th of August. It could run right into August. And I would say, look, maybe mid-July to late July. I don't think you're going to get into August without seeing a downtrend. I think the smart money would sell way before then. But you will see the signs. You will see the topping pattern, and you will see the break of trend. And you'll also see short squeezes because they'll try and flush all the shorts before letting it rip to the downside. But this momentum could continue because it's so far away, August the 11th. There's not really any panic until August the 11th, and we're still in the FOMO phase. Now, how do you get a stock to pump like this? Well, basically, no one's got any of their assets to sell, right? So what you do is you shill. You get everyone to say it's the best thing. It's going to have $1 trillion in revenue. We're buying this company. They literally just came out and said they're buying Cursor. You create loads of news events and huge news events, and this and that. One of my normie friends actually hit me up and said, have you heard about SpaceX? So you're starting to see normies who have nothing to do with investing, that have never bought crypto or stocks, who are seeing, oh, have you heard about SpaceX? Because that's how retail work, right? They see charts that are pumping and they're like, this thing just keeps going up. I need to get into this. I'm going to be rich, right? They don't understand the market cap is $3 trillion. They don't understand that the company made a loss last year. They just look at the chart. They see green. They see all their friends making money on SpaceX and they just buy in. And at some point or another, it crashes. And ironically, it's these guys, the retail guys, that don't sell. They actually hold it down 70-80%. And they often sell the bottom, and smart money come in and buy the bottom, right? The cycle repeats. You guys know how this works if you've been following the channel. So yeah, the best way to market a project is to have the price go up. It's to have the chart go up, right? This is the best way to market an asset. Green, 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 straight to the upside. Everyone thinks they're going to be rich. Everyone gets FOMO. They don't want to miss out on the next Tesla. And it's the best way to market. And then you need news. You need constant news, hype, momentum. You don't want people to get bored. You want them to keep buying more, telling their friends. Their friends bought it. Even if their friends bought in at 200, at the top, they're now up, 10%. They're telling their friends, oh, I put in 1,000. It's already 1,100. Their friend wants to buy in now, right? So then you have this. You also then have the short squeeze, right? So many people are short in the IPO. You then have lots of exchanges that are making crazy money from all of the shorts that are getting liquidated, and more people keep shorting, which incentivizes the price to go up. And then you have people who are longing and making a killing off longs. So yeah, that's how it kind of works. And that is going to be a big day, August the 11th, and that's how I would play it. These ones, 7%, 10%, 10%, not so bad. You are also going to see the earnings report in August, which is, I think, going to hit the market by shock. So I think you're going to have investors getting their early money, insiders, employees. Some of them are already millionaires, right, who put a small amount in. Some of them are already millionaires. They're going to, imagine being a millionaire for the first time, and you don't have access to that money until August the 11th. You're going to be waiting for that day to sell everything. And unfortunately, the smart money in Wales are probably going to sell before you, right? But they'll ride the momentum up. But I think that's going to be key. And then if you hit this date with bad earnings, okay, so when the earnings report come out, there's going to be so much FUD about how much these rockets might make or lose and how much they're actually making. And I think Starlink's going to be fine. I think Starlink data is going to be good. I just think some of the other sectors are going to be a little bit alarming. And yeah, I think it's going to hit the market hard. I think it really is. So yeah, that's how I'll play it. Guys, that when I take the big short, if it really rallies into July, I'm looking to take the big short. I probably won't chase any trades at the moment. It's brand new. The market makers are going to get you guys. It's not a position of strength right now. They're going to liquidate the longs. They're going to liquidate the shorts. At some point or another, we're going to have some really accurate data on the daily. So on the daily, what I'm looking for is the yellow daily closes and the green daily closes, which you've probably seen. It's one of the reasons we shorted Solana at $90 and made a huge amount. You can see this green, see this bright green candle? That's why we started to take longs. The dailies are so strong. When you get enough data, the dailies are so strong. And if you took this, you made an absolute killing. So it pushed up to our resistance, and you had a yellow up here where we took the short. Yeah, here's the yellow candle. So you see the yellow daily. So we took a short, and then we had the yellow sell signal from the SMC bot. So the more data you have, the more consistent these signals are going to be. You really need those daily signals. We don't have that on SpaceX right now. We will have that in July, by July. Then you get into weeklies. After some real data, you get into weeklies. But the daily's good enough for me to trade off. So if we get one of these on SpaceX and I'm looking for a short, let's say it's the middle of July, we get the yellow candle, and then we get the sell signal, I'm probably going to take a big short because it's so overvalued, and it's just been retail euphoria and hype. And when those tokens get unlocked in August, I think it's going to be a massacre, and I think it's going to sell off before that date as well, right? It's just trying to work out when we get that break. So it could be a huge short opportunity. Not financial advice, just my own speculation, guys. Doesn't have to happen. It's just a trade that I'm really interested in, and I would be interested in taking a long-term short on that as well, because I think it's going to take a real long time for that to find a bottom, especially after rallying so much and people being in so many profits, right? So yeah, just my speculation. Just remember, you can lose all your money trading or investing. This is no joke. Most of my strategy is spot buying. I mainly am a spot buyer, but I do take trades here and there, not with huge amounts. I don't trade with more than I can afford to lose, and that's why I don't get sad, upset, euphoric, angry when I lose a trade. I'm trading with small amounts, but yeah, my main strategy is spot buying. And look, if SpaceX comes down 70-80%, I would buy it. Am I going to buy it at 3 trillion? Obviously not. I mean, it needs to become the largest company in the world for me to make a 2x. Why would I buy that? What, especially with no interest in rockets? And I've already talked to you guys about the kind of industries I'm interested in. I'm interested in disruptive industries that could revolutionize the tech space or revolutionize retail's experience, right? Starlink I like. I would buy Starlink if it was its own company and valued at its own company, but not at this kind of market cap. So what else do we have here? Look, long-term vision sounds kind of cool, right? Colonize Mars. It sounds amazing. It's glamorous. Is it going to return that much money? Is one of the rockets going to have a problem? Is it going to be able to land? Are people going to die? It's not my kind of thing. It's too risky. It's already got a risky CEO. I don't need a risky business too, right? It's there's probably going to be an accident at some point or another, and it's going to be very expensive. And I don't see much money coming into this space side of things. I'm not interested in anything to do with space and going to the moon and sending cargo. I want to see businesses that can scale fast, with mass adoption all of a sudden. SpaceX are the backbone, $1 trillion space economy, launch into the internet, yes. The rest of it, cargo, rocket launching, not interested. So yeah, I'm not crazy. I'm not crazy bullish on it. I'm not crazy bullish on the entire business. There's too much risk on the bear case. I mean, look, you've also got like tech delays, development timelines, the costs of producing these rockets and stuff. Pushing back revenue milestones and eroding investor. Yeah, the revenue expectations could change. We'll see when we see the earnings reports, right? And yeah, there could be a lot of FUD. There could be a whole lot of FUD, and especially as the market starts to come down after this Operation Shield campaign calms down and people start to wake up and be like, okay, there's no way that these can be valued at the same as Amazon and Apple right now. Once that all calms down, if you start to get any FUD whilst the price is going down, it can cause retail despair. Cost overruns, developing next generation rocket technology is capital expensive. Regulatory hurdles, not many people are talking about. And I am thinking, when I'm placing investments right now, I'm thinking, what do the Democrats think about this sector? What do the Democrats feel about this? What do the Democrats, because the Democrats might win, guys. And after how Elon and Trump have been with the Democrats, they're going to come back for all those guys. They're kind of a bit bitter, and there's no way they're going to allow them to have done what they've done. They went through all of the books. They called out all of the Democrats for wasting money and committing fraud and having all these fancy parties. You don't think they're going to come back? You don't think they're going to come back and go through all of the crypto books, all of the transactions on the blockchain that took place between, these entities? They're going to go to work if they get into power, guys. They're going to come back and they're going to try and do the same thing that Trump done to them, right? Call them scammers and calling them out for fraud and saying they should be arrested. And, Trump's in a bad place because he pretty much launched multiple cryptocurrencies that are all down 99%. And, the family made an absolute fortune off that. So I'm thinking, how are the Democrats going to feel about all of this stuff as well, right? So regulatory hurdles could be really hard for Elon and all of his businesses. And I'm not even holding Tesla, and I probably wouldn't buy Tesla either. Elon is a bit risky for me. And then, we're talking about risky businesses, and you can't just come out and say all these things about the left and right. Use your own brain, man. Why are you trying to fit it's cool to be in this group, it's cool to be in that group. And Elon also voted for Barack and was on the left, and then he jumped ship when the narrative changed, and Zuckerberg jumped ship. I don't like that. Like, be yourself, have an opinion. Don't start jumping around in between different groups because it fits your narrative. There's things I agree with the left. There's things I agree with the right. You know, I've always been kind of in the middle and used my own brain. And there's things I like that Trump done, right? And there's things I don't like that Trump done. And there's things I like that Barack done and didn't do. You know, I just have my own opinion, and I just don't like people who jump from one to the other because that's the narrative now. That's this is trending. I'm on the right now. Oh, this is trending. I'm on the left now. There's also competition, right? Yes, Starlink are first to market, and I think they're going to do very well. But you also have a lot of competition here. Blue Origin, Jeff Bezos backed rival developing New Glenn Heavy. Now we know Bezos' rocket actually exploded, which is good for SpaceX, bad for Bezos. He's not a guy that's going to give up. We know there's beef between him and Elon, and he's not going to give up. He's definitely competitive. He's got a lot of money behind him, and he's going to do whatever he can to continue this. So there's always going to be competition here. It's not looking good for Bezos because of the explosion, but you know he's going to come back. Rocket Lab. This one's interesting. Rapidly scaling small launch provider with electron and neutron rockets. Now, you know I'm interested in disruptive technologies. It's not the rocket I'm interested in here. It's the technology. Are we shifting technologies here now? This would be really interesting. So I need to do some more deep research into this technology specifically, and if it can be used in vehicles, cars. Is there a breakthrough in technology here? That's what I'm really interested in, those kind of things. But again, there's going to be competition. They're going to try and do it cheaper. They're going to try and do it more efficiently. Elon's very adaptive, and Elon's, you know, they've done great with the rockets. There's been no one who's got close to what they've achieved, and you know, hats off, because you're an innovator. You're doing all these different things. You know, hats off on that side of things. I don't like everything about Elon, but I can't sit here and say that he's not. I know there's a lot of people who've built these things in the background, but he's kind of orchestrated it and pursued these things. But yeah, there is competition out there. OneWeb, Amazon's project, Cooper and OneWeb are deploying rival LEO broadband constellations, directly challenging Starlink's market share. So this is going to be interesting. We are seeing people who are trying to compete with Starlink. And the question is, you know, are they going to be cheaper? Are they going to be better? There's two things people care about. If you're in a third world country, if you're in Africa, if you're in another country, you don't care if Starlink offers this or that. You just want to know what's the price and is it good, right? If it's crappy latency and you're a gamer and you want to be an online gamer in a third world country, you're going to pay for the better latency, right? It's about what works for you. But most people just want data, access to YouTube. Great, I can learn to do whatever I want, and they should really encourage that. That should be one of their marketing things. How many people have used YouTube to grow their career, build their career, learn something? Millions and millions of lives changed. That's the avenue I would go down to market it, and I would deliver it to those third world countries and say, the world's your oyster. Imagine the change you will see in countries if everyone learned how to make a well, how to sanitize water, how to build a farm, how to grow potatoes, how to grow vegetables, it could really change the world. I love it. And that's the avenue I would go down. But yeah, there's going to be competition, and if they can do it cheaper, they can do it cheaper, and people are probably going to pay for price. They're going to be behind. Whoever tries to take them on is going to be behind. You know, Starlink has already got 7,000 satellites in the space. So yeah, they're going to be behind, but it looks like they want some of the competition. And also, they don't just want the competition, they want data. Think how much money that data is worth. Millions and millions of people around the world starting to use Starlink, all these airliners starting to use Starlink, all these CEOs, business people, are all running through Elon. The amount of data that he's getting there is insane. And he's also got all these AI data centers. So there's just constant data streams coming in, and data is so valuable, especially when it comes to marketing and selling that data to other companies who want to market to them, or even the government, right, if they want data. So yeah, very, very powerful. Market risks, we've already talked about regulatory issues. So what's your thoughts on this, guys? What's your thoughts on Starlink? Are you longing it? Are you shorting it? Are you buying it? Are you buying spot? I mean, has it 2x'd from the IPO? Has it 2x? Let's go and check the price now. Has it 2x? It's 214. I mean, it hasn't even 2x, right? If I put $1,000 in this, I wouldn't have even made $2,000. I wouldn't have even made $1,000 profit, right? So I'm not crying about it. I do wish I'd have taken that long position. I'm not crying about it. Now's not a position of strength. They're going to chop the hell out of this. They're going to liquidate the longs. Retail will be frothing in longs here. You know, whales will be shorting. The whales are going to add to their shorts. They're probably going to come back and just liquidate everybody. It's not really a position of strength here. When the momentum slows down and we start to get that break of trend, bang, and the SMC bot maybe helps us with sell signals or yellows, then I'm interested in that. Like the Coinbase IPO. Do you remember when we traded the Coinbase IPO? I said there's no point me buying it now. Yeah, here we go. The Coinbase IPO. Remember this initial dump, right? Initial dump. Then they pumped it, liquidated the short positions, and then they rug pulled it very fast. And I think it came down almost 90%. We bought in around 45, and I think it came down to like 40, 41, 42. We got in at 45, and then we nearly made a 10x. But we wouldn't have made any money if we had bought the IPO, right? Because the IPO was sitting around 369. And 369, people were buying at 369 and 350. And I said, I'm not touching it. I said, unless it has a massive crash, I wouldn't buy it. And it did have a massive crash. And we had a green bottoming candle down here. We did have a couple of green. We'd had a fake out here, but then it went straight back down. And we had a green candle here, which did rally to the upside. It had a massive crash, and we ended up making money. But everyone who bought the IPO is still at a loss today, right? We are still at massive profits today. I haven't actually even sold my Coinbase. I'm just long term holding it. It's in an ISA, and I'm long term holding it. The money was so small when I bought back here. It was such a long time ago as well. The money is so small that I haven't even been bothered to go in there, right? I've made like hundreds of thousands on some of these trades, and the money in there is less than 5k. That's how little money I put in Coinbase back in the day. It's crazy how much I'm trading with now. It almost feels like a dream. When a little while ago, I was literally trading with maybe $500, 1k, little 1ks here and there, little $500. It's crazy how it can scale if you just hit a few correct trades. So yeah, they've purchased Cursor. So far, seems to be doing all right. It's 210. So had a little bit of a Cursor pump here up to 220 into a little bit of a sell the news. And what's your guys' thoughts? Guys, if you want to see what I'm doing, what I'm buying, my long-term plans, my stocks I'm buying are long-term. So I'm buying stocks that I think will do well in 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. I'm not in and out of them. I'm not buying things that are short-term. I'm buying things that I think could be disruptive and be worth a lot in 4 or 5 years. The crypto, you know what I'm doing. With crypto, I've sold it all, sold everything back last year, back in November. I think nearly everything we had is either down 60, 70, 80, 90%. Some things are even down 99% from where we sold. So we've done very well there, just waiting for the bear market on that side of things. So there's no rush for me. Usually the bear market happens it happens around the same time that the SpaceX is released. That just hit me, Normally the bottom should be around the same time that SpaceX unlocks. How fun is that? So imagine SpaceX unlocks, all of those investors take their money, and maybe BTC is at crazy lows. Then they flip the money from SpaceX into BTC. That would be epic. Watch that release date, August the 11th, and see where BTC is. If it's below 50k, that's going to be really, really interesting, guys. That's going to be so interesting. And then SpaceX would crash, BTC would go up, everyone would start talking about people are selling SpaceX to buy BTC. That's going to be really interesting. So diverged there, but no rush for me right now. I'm just chilling. I'm looking at the data. Most of the data doesn't indicate Doesn't indicate much. Big up the traders in the group. Printing here, Beba Booster on the BTC long, 139%, 300%, 93% on that ETH long, GG's bro, 98% on that Solana long. So we took some profits from our shorts and we actually flipped into some longs. I've already taken profits on these trades, by the way, guys. You can see my BTC long, 136%, 60% on ETH. Big ups if you caught my last video, because I was talking about the markets having a little rally in my last video. That was my SpaceX trade. Big up the min, 23% on the BTC, 66% Sol. Oh, these ones are my ones. These are some more of my long positions that I took when we got out of shorts. We were looking for a bounce. We got a really feeble bounce, to be honest, but there might be some more upside there. I don't know. I took some profits off the table because it's looking like it's running out of steam already, and yeah, I don't know if I want to take that trade. Yeah, but if you want to join us, guys, we're doing trades. I'm talking in, obviously, my VIP group. I try to reply to every single person as soon as possible in my VIP group. It's a little bit more expensive. You want to learn, you want to talk to me directly, you want to learn about what I'm doing, my strategies. If you want to look at stuff on chain, that is for people who are serious. Maybe you have a lot larger amount and you don't want to make any mistakes or whatever. Everybody else is in recruits. This is usually where I come in every day and we chat in here and we look at assets. We share assets in here. We look at stocks, setups, take profit targets, stop loss targets, whatever. Sometimes we talk about beers, places to go, countries to visit. We got a great community in here. So I'm normally in here every day chatting to the guys. So you can jump in there and chat to me in there about what we're doing and our strategies. Loads of channels in here. We've got loads of different channels. We're tracking all the smart money in real time. Let's go and have a quick look and see what they're up to. See if they're taking some profits today. $11.5 million in stables. We are seeing some profit taken from crypto. We're also seeing some inflows into ETH, $38 million into ETH today. But quite a lot of stables is being taken as well. So people are taking some profits off of the table today. I say people, this is the smart money. This is where I like to track the most, especially when I see large volumes, like sudden volumes. Like this is quite big. USDC inflow, $20 million. So this was at 4 p.m. So an hour and a half ago. So yeah, we're seeing a little bit of hesitation here in the market and potentially more profit taking. Guys, if you want to join us, you want to get the SMC bot and you want to join us, you want to jump in the Discord, search this one, the bottom one, not the top one. Search the bottom one, click this link here, and then you will go to a page that lets you jump in and get involved with us. It's a monthly fee. It's not a lifetime. It's not a yearly. If it's not for you, you can jump in for a month and just leave, right? After your first month's finished, click cancel, you're out, right? You don't have to stay for 12 months. And I would always say, be careful of any group that's a yearly sign up or 2 yearly sign up, because it's that for a reason, guys. They're probably not delivering. They're probably are not that good. And yeah, it's usually for a reason. You pay a yearly sign up, you realize it's crap, and then you're stuck there for 11 months, right? So yeah, ours is a monthly fee. You can leave at any time, but as you've seen, guys, I think we've got over 1,000 members in the Discord now, and we've been doing very well, and we've got a cool community. So if you want to join us, head over there and jump involved with us. That's it for now. What's your thoughts on SpaceX? Any other videos you want me to do? Any subjects you want me to talk about? Let me know. Apart from that, I'm not a financial advisor. Do your own research. Investing in crypto, investing in stocks, investing in anything is highly risky, and you can lose all of your money investing in anything. So always do your own research first before investing. And that's it for now, guys. Until then, I will catch you in the next one.